I'm here in the beautiful English countryside on a mission as part of a team to document a new era for bees in this country. Over the last 50 years, numbers have seriously been depleted. We've lost 13 species and over 35 still face the threat of extinction. But now, 3 months on since the ban of neonicitinoids, hopefully we will see a renaissance for bees in this country and bring back numbers to full strength, because it's a win-win situation for us. There are over 267 species of bees in the UK, and we rely on these pollinators for most of our fruit and vegetables. So come with me on a journey to discover just how important these creatures are. I'm here with the linchpin in our bee team. This is Goodsell, and he's been a beekeeper since he was 11 years old, is that correct?
That's right.
This is a bee renaissance for us. We're trying to start new hives and create new colonies from scratch so that we can replenish the numbers of bees that have been depleted over the last 50 years. And how are you doing that? How are you achieving that?
So we got package bees, which are 1.5 kilos of worker bees and a queen, and nothing else.
And they came from Italy?
They came from Italy because their season is more advanced than ours. It's earlier, so we were able to get the bees over in enough time to get them working and doing something. And then these are literally poured into a new hive with their new queen, and they're fed, and then we just leave them to it, get them going, and the queen will start laying eggs pretty quickly. And then after 3 weeks, these new eggs turn into new bees, and the colony then will expand rapidly over the next few weeks and months.
We've come to a set of hives which are about 1.5 miles off the Norfolk coast, and this particular apiary has a forage of wild flowers. And as you can see here, I've got this enormous spread of wild marjoram here, which thrives on the sandy soil, being a Mediterranean plant, and these bees are busy collecting the nectar and pollen to make some fantastic honey. We've also got some knapweed, which are these beautiful purple thistle-like flowers here, and the yellow flower is lady's bedstraw. And this wild marjoram is absolutely fantastic. If you crunch it up in your fingers, the smell is incredible. These wildflowers are absolutely stunning, and I cannot wait to see the honey that's produced. There are the hives in this beautiful field of wildflowers. So we're going to go to work now, and I better prepare and put on my protection, and my bee suit is going to come in very handy. These are all honeybees, Apis mellifera, and they're busy making honey. How much honey will they make in their entire lifetime?
If an individual bee, if you measured its output, then it's in the region of about sort of a sixth of a teaspoon in its entire life. A colony, a good colony over a really good season, could make up to 200 pounds, 100 kilos in weight. Incredible.
And it's just wonderful to see, isn't it? I mean, it's really heartwarming to see these bees free, foraging on wild meadow and doing what they do. In recent years, these bees have been depleting in numbers. And what is the reason for the decline?
There seem to be quite a lot of reasons. One of the main things we've had to contend with is the varroa mite, which came over about 30 years ago. And our bees aren't naturally able to cope with it. So that led to a lot of problems in beekeeping. We're beginning to be able to manage that now, but it's endemic, but we can manage it. The other problems we were having were from neonicotinoid seed coatings and sprays, which were affecting the bees' ability to navigate. So they'd go out foraging and then couldn't find their way back ultimately. Those have now been banned, and hopefully it will see a little bit of an easier time for us.
And climate change, that's also been a factor in the bees' decline.
There just seems to be less rigidity in the seasons, and so we never know quite what to expect.
And do you think that we're going to see repercussions from the neonicotinoids in the future, in terms of it's in the food chain and we will see a residual effect?
There is a bit of a hangover in that the neonicotinoid has leached into the soil, but that's getting less and less each year. As time goes by, there'll be. I mean, it's only trace elements now that are left in things. I think the difficult thing is that farmers will still need to put insecticides on their crops until we find an effective way. And I don't know whether there is an effective way of controlling whether you can get enough predators to get the the bugs that they're fighting, I don't know. The trouble with that is that we're going back to some older types of insecticides which can be more damaging for bees. But generally the farmers are aware of that, and they do try to work with beekeepers. So if they have to spray, they will spray early morning and late evening where possible. It doesn't always happen, but there is more awareness now.
That's great, and that's what really we need, is more education and awareness, and the communication, so that we can nip the problems in the bud before they happen.
And also that the farmers now are beginning to realise that having the right amount of pollinators, so managed hives on their land, can increase their yield by up to 20%. So that will give them better margins, and ultimately they're understandably interested in their bottom line. So if they now realise that having bees on their land will increase their yield, they're going to be doing things that hopefully will encourage us to put bees there.
So it's a win-win situation for everybody. Here on the Norfolk coast, there is marshland covered in sea lavender, which produces a very unique type of honey by the bees that are foraging on it there. And this marshland is very special because it's never had any pesticides on it whatsoever. So it's virgin territory, and that's why it produces such incredible honey. This sea lavender is a salt marsh flower that is excellent forage for the honeybee. Since 1900, 13 species of bees have been lost, and 35 species are considered under threat from extinction. The hives behind us had to be transported here because the inland wildflower meadow had actually dried up, and the bees required new forage, which is why we brought them to this site where we have the sea lavender. Now, you often have to transport the bees vast distances in order to find the right forage. So are you working towards getting more permanent sites in different places so that you don't have to do that?
In an ideal world, yes. We would plant or have the bees in areas where there's forage from spring through to autumn pretty much, and then that way they could just work quite happily without having to be moved around. At the moment, I mean, we've moved these up here, as you say, because the forage dried up inland, and the sea lavender seems to be yielding very well this year. I'll be moving some up to the Peak District to work heather in the next couple of weeks, and that is a type of flower that obviously we don't have around here because we tend not to have peaks and mountains and moorland, so it's worth going over there to get a specific sort of honey. And I think ultimately I would aim to have hives that are on permanent sites that have loads of lovely forage around them, but then also a core of migratory hives as well to go to places like heather and sea lavender.
It's extremely labour intensive then. I mean, you have to cart these hives all over the country.
It is, yeah. No, lots of very long days, and sort of brains ceasing to function by about sort of mid-June. I should think that's about my lot.
Well, it's well worth it. The honey that's created is absolutely fantastic. So let's go and have a look at the hives. Now, Lee's using a smoker here, which is being used to pacify the bees. With us intruding on their hives, they give off a pheromone which en masse smells like rotten bananas, but by doing this smoking, it gives them the sensation that they think that the forest's on fire, and they actually eat their honey because they think they're going to need sustenance to survive while they're out and the forest is burning, and that actually pacifies them, so they're going to be a lot less aggressive, and it allows us to get into the hive and see what's going on. This is a hive that was started from scratch just 7 weeks ago, and when we put in the 1.5 kilos of bees, it only filled just about 4 of these wooden frames, but now in 7 weeks we've got a hive that is thriving and producing copious amounts of honey, which is fantastic, and this is a real success story.
Here's your queen.
Oh, there she is. That's the queen. Wow, you don't get to see that every day.
Yes, she's an egg-laying machine. She'll lay around about 2,000 eggs a day, and that's her job. And she gives off a pheromone which keeps the hive happy and content. And you see, they're all having a little chat with her. They're touching her, getting the pheromone, and just seeing that all's well. They'll feed her as well. She won't feed herself.
We rely on bees. People don't realise what a huge impact they have on our lives.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
How are we going to get that message across?
That's a good question. I don't really know the answer, but what is good is that people are becoming more and more aware of the importance of pollinators, and also the importance of good food and proper good honey that hasn't been messed around with is all part of that, and more people are aware of that. And if I'm selling honey, people are asking sensible questions about how it's been processed, or if it's been processed at all, where it's come from, and
and there's great health benefits as well from honey.
Yeah, and a great variety as well. Depending on the source of the nectar, the different flowers, the honey will have a completely different flavour, different colour, different texture, and also different benefits. So it is an incredibly important foodstuff.
This is absolutely incredible. Look, it's from the hive. Oh, I can't. I forgot I had my veil on. Oh my god, I'm going under my veil. Oh, that's really special.
It's something else, isn't it?
Absolutely incredible. To be eating honey from comb that's come directly out of a beehive. You don't do that every day. Wow, that's absolutely delicious. And that's sea lavender honey.
Sea lavender honey, yeah.
Incredible. I can't tell you how beautiful that tastes. Hopefully, you'll get to experience that once it hits the shelves. You can just taste it's good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks guys. Great job.